up, everybody? To color me surprised, I thought we'd have to wait at least another week or so before we got any indication of Kaldheim spoilers. And to be fair, the official Kaldheim spoilers are going to be starting the 7th of January because the set gets released a month after that, roughly. But apparently for this week, the week of the 14th and going into the... Well, actually, you know what? I can have the actual information right here. Basically, for the next 4 days or so, we are going to be having Kaldheim spoilers of some kind. To be specific, what they're going to be doing is Kaldheim sneak peek previews from here to the 17th. January 7th is going to be the launch, Twitch, Magic TV. Then Arena's got their thing going on the 28th of January. The pre-release, 29th to 4th, and then actual set is available on the 5th. But no, they had their site up. They had a whole article today, not only detailing a bunch of stuff we're seeing Kaldheim, but also like new planeswalkers, things along those lines. I mean, let's just talk about what we saw here. Oh, I separated actually the planeswalkers specifically that they talked about because I feel it's important to keep them separate. But we'll talk about them, don't worry. But as they say, Vikings, gods, myth, legends, so many beards. Kaldheim is coming to effing melt your mind whole. I may get like collector's packs of this set just because I feel like they're going to be, as they put it, metal as hell. And we see some key art here. We see this raging water, these Viking ships, this sword in the middle of the ocean, the tree, which we get a better look at later on, that's supposed to represent Yggdrasil, or Yggdrasil, I can't remember the actual Norse pronunciation, but with what has apparently the Cosmos Serpent or World Serpent wrapped around it. And if any of you know me, you know I love me my reptilians and my snakes and my dragons and my hydras. The fact that we get a World Serpent card, who does actually have a name, by the way. I believe it's Como, the Cosmos Serpent, which is worshipped by a sect of the elves on the plane. That is pretty awesome. It's nearly here. Obviously, we get this picture of Kaya, who we've seen previously on the pre-release box art, or a bundle art. But now we get a full view of her image. And I mean, look, like or hate her character, that's a pretty sweet-ass image. Let's be clear. As I showed you, we got the Kaldheim Metal Week, as they call it. Because here's the thing. They're starting them on Thursday previews with some truly metal bands. Previews are going to actually be revealed allegedly by bands. Who would have thought? We get some more art here. We get these cool shots of some Vikings, this is pretty cool armor here. I don't know what this is. I mean, I get it's a warrior, berserker, Viking creature of some kind. But in terms of what the creature actually is, I'm a little at loss for words of what this thing actually is. It doesn't look like any troll I've ever seen, but I wouldn't say it's an orc. Maybe an an ogre of some kind, or it could be a new creature type. I'm not really all that certain. This, I think, is a giant, though. Like, maybe it's not an artificer giant, just because even though it's got some artifact stuff attached to it, I think it's just a giant or a golem, or this might be a troll. I think it's a giant, though. It's literally, its fists are 2 molten balls of magma, which is pretty sweet. This character, I mean, it's not a character per se. It could be a legendary creature. I don't think so. I don't know if this is a god. It might be a god, because this doesn't look like a shaman, maybe, or a wizard. I don't know. I really don't know. But like I said, they live here. It's effing F. Or I'm gonna guess it's fucking shit, is what it's saying. Then we get some great artwork of possibly land. I don't know if this is a land per se, or maybe an enchantment or something like that. But you'll notice snow, Yggdrasil. We'll talk more about that in a second. But snow and snow. Now, if you have seen the little leak of the commander, like the set commander sets, one of them has a creature on there that has a symbol on there. If you look carefully enough, it is a snow symbol. That's, without them actually confirming it, is pretty much all but confirmed. There is snow. The snow is coming back in this set. And that does me just fine. I got a snow deck that could use a little upgrading. Has not lost the match yet, but I would not be against upgrading it more, making another one, that different colors. But you have whatever the world tree is going to be called here. You have it here. And it's because they mentioned there are different realms, and the world tree Yggdrasil in Norse mythology has different branches which represent different realms. The realm of the different the 9 realms, if you will. And obviously there's this world underneath the tree, certainly, but you can see in the middle here. Just want to be sure, whether you can see my mouse here or not. But in the middle here, there's this sphere that seems to be separate from the other realms. You can see on the right-hand side, there's a forest here. There seems to be an ocean of some kind here on one of the other branches. If this is not a mythic land, I don't know what this is. So yeah, it's a beautiful landscape here and here. Now, it's pretty clear. Not all of this plain is covered in snow. Let's be fair here. Like, there's lava, things along those lines. But there's definitely a lot of snow in the plain. This poster got revealed a little while ago, but it's still a pretty badass poster with Kaya fighting what appears to be a giant, some Valkyries/angels, some demons on the bottom. We get some more artwork here. And to expand on this picture briefly, we see here the box art with some of the packaging, not a lot of it. We see the collector booster here with Thor's Mjolnir there, which is pretty sweet. The set booster, and then we see the magic box of magic boosters, the color magic boosters. But the thing of it is, notice that there's a sixth booth. There's a sixth booster here. There's a sixth booster here, and it's hard to see, but if you actually read it, it does say Viking-themed booster, which tells me that Viking might actually be a creature type in this set. And it's all 5 colors. The rest of them, though, are, as such. They are they're a white, blue, black, red, and green colored booster, respectively. But this is the first themed multicolored booster we have, which makes me wonder later on in the sets, down the road, we're going to see themed multicolored boosters. And then you get the Kaldheim, again, the actual collector booster, Mjolnir there, or whatever the magic equivalent of Mjolnir is. They have the state right here, will you stop that? Kaya and Tybalt are back and are more formidable than ever. We'll be the judges of that as Magic players, but also needing 2 new Planeswalkers. And that's the surprising part to me, is that we have 2 new Planeswalkers. We've basically, ever since War of the Spark, we've had the basic rule of principle that we were getting 3 Planeswalkers a set. It's a nice, sweet number that doesn't rock the boat in terms of the numbers in the format or anything like that. With Eldraine, we got it. With Theros Beyond Death, we got that. With Ikoria, with Zendikar Rising. But no, they gave us 4 Planeswalkers in the set. 2 of which are brand new characters, only one of which is a native of the plane. And now those Planeswalkers are, I'm going to see if I can get these names right. Tyvar Kell, Kaldheim Planeswalker. He's an elf Planeswalker. And he's, as far as we know, he's a mono green Planeswalker. And then we have Nico Eris Kaldheim Planeswalker, but this Planeswalker is from Theros. Now, let's talk about the first guy quick. First off, he's an elf, and he's a pretty built elf. They wanted to do something different with the elves here. So even the elves on this plane are a bit more battle hungry and for glory and battle. You could make an argument he was kind of the Loki stand-in, but not. He's like, we were thinking maybe Oko, but that's not the case. But you could make an argument he's kind of Loki stand-in because his whole plot, his whole story is that he's jealous, and he's jealous of his brother to some degree. He's envious of his brother, and he wants to, be he wants to be a proud warrior like his brother. But unlike, say, Loki, who is very much against his brother, and villainous, it's more that his brother has inspired him to make his own legacy. He's more of a Thor type character, surprisingly, in the sense that having glorious battles and victories, all that. And what's cool is he's a transmuter Planeswalker. He's actually able to take the elements around him and transmute them into his body. He can be in a grappling match. He can make thorns sprout from his body. He can take stone and wrap himself in stone armor. Even magma he can use. He's limited by what's around him, and he can even infuse that into others, but it's a unique ability I've been wondering if we'd see on a Planeswalker. Now, there are 2 sets of elves in Kaldheim. We know this now. There are and I can't remember if we got, they say it in his actual article. I can't remember the actual names, but there are primarily black elves, shadow elves, and then there are the wood elves, which are the primarily green. Now, we don't know if he's going to have a secondary color, nor do we know if Nico Eris is going to have a secondary color. But we know it's green and blue respectively, which does make sense. We know that Kaya is white-black. That's just what her color identity is. Tibalt is at minimum red, but there's a good chance he might be going in the black in this set, but we don't know. Just because I believe even Rosewater came out and said at one point, it's like, yeah, he's actually more of a black-red Planeswalker. But it makes sense that to round that color pie out, you now have green and white. And for the longest time, up until Zendikar Rising, I keep wanting to say Battle for Zendikar Rising, we were kind of short of color in each set. We were short white in Eldraine. We were short red in Theros Beyond Death. We were short black in Ikoria. But then Zendikar Rising came out and pretty much evened out the color pie again. So it's and maybe that's what they're going to start doing again now, evening it out. And if that means adding an extra Planeswalker into the mix, so be it. Nico Eris, though, is a bit more of an interesting character because immediately when I looked at this character, I'm like, and bear with me as I talk about this, I'm like, is this a guy or a girl? But immediately when they started using pronouns, I'm like, okay, this is a non-binary character. Like, this is the first legitimate, think about this. This is the first legitimately non-binary character. A character that is born a certain sex, but in terms of a gender identity, and it's weird that, it's not weird. It's interesting to say that their non-binary nature actually plays into their character because they come from Theros, and to defy fate, they basically decide to basically be neither. So that's an interesting concept. Whether or not we will discuss, they'll touch upon what their birth sex was, I don't know and frankly don't care. I think it's actually cool to have that inclusion because apart from Ashiok, we haven't had a non-binary character. We've actually had a transgender character in, I believe, Alicia, the One Who Smiles, who is actually a man who identifies as a woman in that character, which is very interesting. But we haven't had a non-binary character who identifies as neither, which I think is very interesting. And, it's cool. It's good to have that representation because part of the game is player representation and integration and familiarity to it, with certain characters. So it's important that everyone gets, someone they can identify with. If I were to be the sporting man and just guess what they were, or who they were, or what they were born as in terms of their sex, I would guess male simply by the goatee. But then again, in Magic, maybe that's just like a tattoo or painting for all I know. That's the only thing. But they're non-binary, so I will refer to them as they, them, or their, or whatever. Anything that's not a he or a she. But I think it's cool that, to get the character that defies fate. I always enjoy those characters who say screw you, because I'm honestly one of those people who says no, there's no such thing as destiny. Maybe there's a plan, but the plan can always be altered. And that's the thing, is like no plan is set in stone. I like the idea of someone who goes against fate, so that's really cool. And I like the idea too that we get someone who's a little different. Apparently they are a mirror mage. They can create energy mirror shards for projectile attack. They said they wanted to go somewhere different with a blue planeswalker, so it's more about proficiency and accuracy. But apparently, as someone kind of put it, the mirror shards can act as a prison, so they can trap an individual in there for a certain amount of time. Like they said, a normal person could be trapped for about a minute. Or like supremely strong. I mean, like if this character had was on, like say, Ravnica during War of the Spark and tried to trap Bolas, he would not have been trapped in there for more than like a second. It does not work on supremely strong characters, although, I don't know, give enough time to practice, maybe Nico could get better at their craft. But no, that I think is a really cool. It'll be interesting to see how both of these characters' abilities play out on cards. Because transmutation, I would imagine some of that has to do with +1 counters because green is very heavy in that. But I'm wondering what exactly. And these shards can also steal, the abilities of people too, to some degree, but temporarily. So I'm wondering how the mirror shards are going to play out as a Planeswalker card. Trapping an individual might have something to do with exiling or removing something from the field. I'm spitballing here, quite frankly. He might have something to do with lands. So, and apparently it's an elf tribal planeswalker, so he might have something to do with elves too. He might create some elves. Ultimately, though, excuse me, we had a lot of stuff brought up today that I wasn't expecting at all. So, and we'll have more coming in the next coming days. So, I'm interested to see what we got coming up here. I know we know gods are on the plane. In fact, there was actually apparently a pantheon of gods prior to the current pantheon of gods. So I'm wondering if that's going to get brought up at all. But anyway, yeah, the Kaldheim spoilers, man. I'm looking forward to this. This is a set that I've actually been looking forward to since they announced it. So keep your eyes out for what we may get. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. What did you think about it? Let me know. I'll see you probably tomorrow because I've got a bunch of videos I got to do. But until then, have a good one, folks. And hit that bell if you want the notifications. See ya.